Austin.
I'm Quintin.
And this is XMAS Movies.
The podcast where we talk about Christmas classics that aren't exactly classics. And today we are talking about Tokyo Godfathers.
I really love this movie.
No, this is the best movie we watched on this list.
Yay, a good movie.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been watching a lot of like shit and mediocrity.
Yeah.
Like none of the movies, like very few of the movies on this list have actually been like really good movies.
Yeah.
There's been like I'm one of those people where A Nightmare Before Christmas is like, I've seen it. It's not 100% for me, but I get why it's really good and why people like it a lot, and I like the music a lot. But I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch that every year.
This is also, funnily enough, the one film that has the least of it set at Christmas.
Yeah, which is weird.
I didn't expect that. The timeline in this movie is weird, but it goes from Christmas Eve up until New Year's Day, I believe. Which, okay, so this is a movie that probably less people have seen.
Yes. This is probably the most obscure movie on this list.
Yes. So, how to describe this movie? I'm trying to think of a good. I'm just gonna read the little.
3 homeless people with their own like kind of like individual past problems, like all stumble across this abandoned child.
Yeah, in the trash.
And they go on a wacky adventure trying to return it to its parents.
Yep, that's about it.
Yeah, it's a very good movie. It's like,
yeah.
Who directed this movie? It was
Satoshi Kon.
Okay, I don't know anything else that they have directed, but I probably.
They have directed. Let me look. Oh,
I think Perfect Blue.
Perfect Blue. Yeah. Paprika.
Okay. Yeah, some just good non-Ghibli animated films.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, like most people, like when they think of like the anime movies, like at least when in America where we live, they think of Ghibli movies, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But there's a very vibrant film industry and a very vibrant animated film industry in Japan, and this is one of those films that I would argue is definitely up there in terms of quality. And one of the writers on this list was, oh shit, I can't remember their name, but they died recently, unfortunately. But
Kaiko Nobumoto.
Yeah, we're gonna be butchering these names.
Yes. Satoshi Kon also, not recently, but also died.
Yeah.
About a decade ago.
Yeah.
It's funny. It seems based off of this, like all of the non-Ghibli filmmakers are dying.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh jeez. No, but like the Kaiko was a head writer on Cowboy Bebop as well. Mm-hmm. And she died like this December actually, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like but yeah, this is a very like well-written movie, and it's a very like heartwarming movie that I've found extremely endearing. And yeah, so what do we want to talk about with this movie?
I don't know. What do you want to talk about? I can talk about any part of this movie.
The characters. I feel like.
Yeah. So we watched the sub for this movie because I did a little bit of research, and the dub for this movie is apparently fine. It's just that certain parts come off a bit more caricature-y, especially in terms of the character Hana.
It's kind of a thing with a lot of dubs, especially with dubs that deal with like trans characters and like not gender non-conforming characters, especially. They tend to come off a little bit like weirder or like more like stereotyped in certain ways.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we ended up watching the sub, and the sub felt I like pretty good in terms of, especially for being what it is in 2003.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for 2003 this is a really good a really good like English like subtitle translation.
Oh, I was talking about the treatment of trans characters.
It's 100% a very like good treatment. Like it's I would say it's a good time capsule of 2003, where it's just kind of like it in this weird like kind of
It's in a transitional period.
yeah. Um, yeah. The treatment of Hana is like is like someone who wants to be a mother but is unable unable due to their anatomy. It's like they want to be a mother, and like they're given this opportunity, and they become very protective of this child, and like they do honestly a pretty good job of like being a mother. It's like it's just like this person who really wants to be like a mother, and it's displayed very well. Like,
it is, and it's at that moment in the movie that they start to delve into this theme that the director has talked about in interviews, or to talk about in interviews, and which is the concept of like small miracles being brought out in the real world, in that all of these miracles are very like not they're small miracles, and a lot of them are kind of shitty in terms of like they find a baby in the trash.
Yeah, like it's about seeing another side to what would inarguably be a very shitty situation, or like a very like shitty moment. Like they go to a graveyard, and like I mean they're homeless, so they're scavenging for food for in like the offerings and stuff, like, and like they're trying to find food for the baby, and like they find like this like they find like milk and like other things, and like this seems like, and like in this context it's labeled as a very good thing, but if you look at it from a different way, odds are that was a baby that died. Or that was a child. It was like in like through like the misfortune of the world, some good is still shown.
Exactly. And throughout all of those not even miracles, but just like really just coincidences, they kind of like are able to find their way, and at the end find some peace and unity when they're finally Jin and Hana are both given care for their pretty grievous injuries.
Yeah.
And they reunite the child Kyoko with their parents, and then Miyuki ends up, this character who ran away from home, ends up reuniting with her father at the very, very end of the movie, and that's literally the last thing that happens.
That's where the movie ends.
It's just like one final coincidence, and that's all the movie is just like what you said. It's seeing all of these. It's seeing these coincidences as miracles instead of just like random happenstance. Finding a baby in the trash and being able to raise it for a little bit. Finding what you need in the offerings. Meeting this old man who ends up dying, but then gives you lots and lots of money. Having to go to the hospital, but ending up being reunited with your estranged daughter. Just like getting beaten to shit by a group of like teenagers and almost dying in an alleyway, almost to be rescued by a drag queen dressed as an angel, who then reunites you with your friends.
Another thing about this movie. This movie is really funny.
Yeah, it is.
It's a very funny movie. It was like all of the characters are the characters are like it's an anime film. Like everything is extremely exaggerated, but like all the characters are both very endearing and very hilarious. Like that angel scene, and like it's at the beginning, it's portrayed as just like this actual angel coming down from heaven, but it's just a drag queen.
Yeah. And the one thing I will say is that I think those moments are very exaggerated, but then the moments that I really love are the moments of stillness, because there's so many just like somber still moments where the characters are barely animated at all, and just like the snow is being animated, and those are really beautiful moments, and those work so well because you've had the comedy as going on as well. And that's something that we talked about with with The Night Before, where the dramatic and more somber beats were sometimes undermined by the comedy, but I think here they struck a really, really good balance of it.
It's the comedy enhances the dramatic bits, which is what good comedy does. And like it is definitely because of that, it is, I think, not only is it the best movie that we've watched so far, I think it's the best Christmas movie that we've watched so far.
I would agree with that. And I think it's the least directly Christmassy. I think the themes, I think people would look at this and say, like, that's not a Christmas movie due to the lack of aesthetic and the in general when the movie is set, but it is thematically the most a Christmas movie we have watched so far.
Easily. Like, I would like the whole like we've talked about how problems can be exacerbated by holidays. This is a movie basically about that. Like, it's not just about like the kind of like, oh, how being with family like makes things shittier. Well, like for some it's showing like, well, for some people, like, the holidays are a very shitty time, especially if you live somewhere that's like really cold, because then you are fighting against the elements. You're fighting against the world in order to deal with this. And it's like, and like having all of that and still having like these little like moments where you're able to find some joy or find some happiness in like that is like kind of just like, it's a perfect encapsulation of like the holidays for me, at least.
Exactly. I agree with that. And I think the whole theme about coincidences becoming miracles is also something that feels very Christmassy and is very Christmassy in a way that isn't often explored in modern Christmas movies,
especially not American Christmas movies.
No, mostly because the concept of miracles is something that's typically left for the more religiously affiliated holiday stories.
Yeah, and like this film does have a small like relationship with like kind of religion, but like they're very like quick moments. They aren't extreme. Like it's not an
the characters
film.
Are expressing their own religion, but the movie is not about that. The movie is not. The movie isn't expressing its religious beliefs and practices. The characters are.
Yeah. It's. This is a movie. I would say arguably, this is one of the only movies on this list that I would consider watching every year.
I would agree with that. I would be really interested to see how the dub compares.
Yeah.
We didn't watch it, but I would be really interested to see just the differences. Because this is a movie that I would watch every year. It's a I don't know if I could watch it with my family.
Yeah,
it might be a bit too edgy for them.
I would. Yeah, considering your background, I don't think this is a film that your family would consider watching. This is definitely a film I would watch with my friends. And like I think is a very, very good Christmas movie. I would put this on the top of the list, and I don't think it's even close.
No, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yes. I think just having all of these characters who have kind of fucked up the holidays for themselves in a way. They've made the holidays worse for themselves. Maybe not intentionally, but they've all lost people and the holidays have gotten worse. And then they find this child in the trash, and then they don't want the same thing to happen to that child. Yeah. And so they go through all of these, every movie is about the one time something improbable happens.
Yeah.
And it's about a series of improbable events coinciding. But here, the movie is like inherently about that concept of like all of these miracles just linking up, and that is it's something that, like I said before, is normally in more religious movies, and here it's really secular in a way that I really, really love. It's about how those miracles can happen to everyone, and during the holiday season, how all of these crazy things can happen, albeit a lot of them are really, really shitty, and eventually some good comes of them, and everyone finds some peace and unity. Also, it's another like found family movie, so I almost cried.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very good movie. Watch it. I wholeheartedly recommend this movie for the holidays. And yeah, even if it's after Christmas, I would argue.
Yeah,
like, this is a very good movie about just. Like,
this is just a good.
It's just a good movie. Watch this movie.
And if it's
April right now, watch this movie.
It's the movie on this list that has the least Christmassy aesthetic. It has snow. All the environments in it are snowy, but I think as a result of that, you could watch this anytime. But I think it works the best when it is during the holiday season.
Yeah.
And yeah, because a lot of people haven't watched this movie. I think everyone who listens to this, please watch this movie.
Yes, please. Yeah.
This movie flopped.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Watch this movie and
cry a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Laugh a little bit. Have a good time. Watch some. God,
I'm so glad this movie was really good.
Yeah, there's a reason I wanted to put this movie so close to the end, because it would feel weird to watch this and then a bunch of shitty movies.
Yeah.
This felt right.
I'm glad we watched this movie near the end.
I am too.
But there's a reason it's not the end.
God. We're talking about Die Hard
yes,
next time.
Yep, we're talking about.
We had to talk about Die Hard.
Yeah, we had to talk about Die Hard. This is the reason this podcast is a thing. Because Die Hard is Die Hard is Die Hard is Die Hard.
Yeah. Merry Christmas Eve to those who celebrate. We will see y'all on Christmas, if anyone is going to listen to this on Christmas Day, which seems unlikely.
Unlikely, but
yeah.
Who knows?
Happy holidays, everyone.
I'm Austin.
I'm Quintin.
Thanks for listening.
Watch Tokyo Godfathers.
Watch Tokyo Godfathers,
God.
please. This movie needs more love.
Now we're gonna go. Oh shit! We gotta get our special guest. We gotta get him. We gotta get him up.
Yeah. I called him. He's awake.